Welcome to On the Road with Sika. My guest is known for being one of the funniest comedians in the UK, as well as a presenter, MC, philanthropist, just to name a few. And that is Eddie Kadi.
How are you?
I'm good, Eddie. How are you?
I'm good. I've survived. I survived this period of Christmas, New Year, year return. A lot of people felt ill. Maybe it's Hamatan here in Accra. So and I had back to back performances, and I also had my moment. But I'm excited. It's a great start to 2020.
And it's great to have you on my show.
Thank you.
So, Eddie,
Yeah.
you've come very, very far, and everyone knows that. You've come very far from your black grape days.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Up until now, you've been traveling, touring around the world. Let's go back to memory lane. How did your journey begin?
At university, it began at uni. I was part of the African Caribbean Society. It was very new, very fresh, something that was new to me. But one thing that excited me was just people who look like you, who are going through the same academic struggles or journey, coming together weekly to just release some stress. And we had things to talk about. We shared culture. We could be ourselves for a few hours and really feel at home, because it was home away from home, especially those who could never commuted, actually moved out fully. So that's when the journey started. We put together showcases. I hosted a showcase for the fun of it, and that literally changed my life. It became, it almost felt like a calling because I was just trying to entertain, and people were fully entertaining. And I started getting books from other universities, and that was around the Black Grape times, actually. And then I'd finished uni working for a TV station, and my boss saw a video of me performing. And he said, "You have to have a TV show." And then that was how the confidence grew to then transition from that into stand-up, and the rest is history.
So, have you always wanted to get into comedy?
Not at all, nowhere near. I didn't even think about it. I never thought about it twice. I just enjoyed watching comedy like a normal person, like everybody else. I think it just got to a stage where I found that I had ways of trying to talk about my culture that I guess was unique to me, that people found refreshing and funny. And I was addicted to the reaction in me celebrating my culture in my own way. And one thing just, go into another. And I think once you realize you have this ability to unite people and to also allow people to be themselves, because there was a time when, the notion of being a young African wasn't the coolest thing, wasn't the most talked about thing.
When at the age of 8, moved to the UK, I would say I moved to the UK. It was not my decision. I was happy to stay behind. My parents had a reason. Who moved to the UK? Got to the UK, and of course, I couldn't really speak English, And at the time, I had a translator. They had a young guy, same age as me, translating for me, yeah? And the things he would say would get me really angry. I don't know if things were lost in translation or some of these kids in my school were just stupid. One of the guys looked at me. British accent is a bit different. It's really soft. You got to try sort of speak like that. You know what I mean? Yeah? That's aggressive. It's a bit soft. You know what I mean? They say their lips are smaller. That's why they speak like that. Our lips are bigger. They're we release. British sort of speak like this. And they shake their head a lot. Speak like this. So this young guy, Tom, came up to me and said, right, tell him. I can see that. All I could see was, but he's saying, tell him, he's African, right? Can he speak African? I said, tell him, he's stupid, right? Can he speak stupidity? Oh, yes, he can. I had to teach people at the age of 8, the amount of pressure Africa has put on me, you people don't know. I said to the kid, Africa, what do you mean can I speak African? What do you want me to do? Speak a cocktail of languages. Bawoni, it is saying, hey, Hakuna Matata, what do you want me to do?
You definitely, you were treading on eggshells when you came to showcasing your Africanness. And I realized that with my comedy, a lot of young Africans were able to express themselves. And I saw that side, and I felt like I'm doing my part, and this is exciting. And if it's comedy that's doing it, let me develop it. I just used to go on stage and perform. I had no sort of comedy schooling, advice, structure, nothing. As I started winning awards and being accepted more, and I realized that, the audience was getting bigger, I had to actually now really structure it and take it serious. And that's when I started looking into comedy properly, because I'm like, I guess I'm made for the long haul.
Yeah. And it doesn't run in your family either.
My granddad was extremely funny. My parents are funny. I still get jokes from them. They're hilarious. Like, me being the eldest and I move out, I'm always the first point of reference of what's going on in the family. So if I'm away for a long time, I come back home, the catch-up stories from mom and dad, they always have contradictory stories. Like the one person will tell you one version, the other will tell the wrong version. They're funny in their own way. But my granddad was a storyteller, so he was very funny. We have a lot of funny people in our family, man. And I think I don't know if that runs in the blood, but these are the same people that didn't want me to get into comedy. Now they're like, you got it from your granddad.
I was about to say that because from an African household, the moment that you say you want to be a comedian, they just brush it off.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to be a doctor.
Yeah, it's not their fault. They came with different agendas. They came their own agenda. They brought the child over from Africa, and there's an opportunity for you to become great. And greatness is academia. It means get educated, become a doctor, lawyer, an accountant. Don't embarrass us. Be an engineer. Comedy, like their idea of comedy is that you can have that in Congo. You didn't need to leave Congo to be a comedian. But my parents are pretty liberal, pretty young as well. So they, as much as they had their concerns, they didn't fight me. I think my dad was not into it until one day. I think I was ill, and I was ill for a long time, and I kind of got his soft side. So when I got back, it's like whatever I wanted to do, I should do. He was just happy to have his son back in full health. So he came to watch me perform, and I think he was blown away by the attention and the way I could hold the crowd and how people reacted. And over the years, they've come to all my solo events. So, but because of the way they raised us was, they don't want to push us too far away. They don't want to put us under too much pressure, but they will always show their concern. But Africans, they have a way of showing concern that can put you off life,
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't force me. They didn't say you can't do this. They always advised me away from it. But then I guess it was my path that was there to also shed light to them, give them a different vision, a different understanding of what it could be. Performing arts can change the world as much as anything else, can make money. You can have a good influence, you can instill good reputation in your family. And they realized that as they went along. And the more they realized that, the more they were open to it, and the more they became big fans of my career.
And also, having said that, you are from DRC.
Yeah.
And you've been accepted across the continent, especially West Africa.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. The word accept doesn't sit well with me because I'm African, and I think whether we're francophones or anglophones, we had no borders before people came along and decided they wanted to eat their own different parts of Africa and push these people towards that side, and create a divide, I don't see borders. I'm just myself. I've never had a strategy to be accepted across all the different countries in Africa. I've always felt like an African,
Yeah.
And I think, but in saying that, yes, we are in a generation where people do identify themselves of a certain background, certain kind, certain approaches. But I'm a Pan-African. I've always been that. I've always been like, we need to unite. I've always been that we have same stories. Yeah. You eat fufu, I eat fufu. You sing this song, I sing this song. You dance like this, I dance like that. We go to church. All the principles that we have, you can take that and go to any countries and people will be like, this one is raised well. Oh, this one is not raised well. So, but it's always an honor to be able to land in Gambia, in Senegal, or be in Sierra Leone, or be in Kenya or Ghana or Nigeria and still feel as welcome.
Right, anyone from Ghana here? Good, let's talk about them. So, you have the Ghanaians, right? Now, Ghanaians, they haven't really experienced war. You don't really hear stories about, something happened in Ghana. And they're relaxed. They were like the first nation to gain independence. They've been relaxed since 1915. You see, since you've been waiting for freedom, they have been gone. Since you have been waiting, they have been gone. So, the Ghanaians are relaxed. And you can tell from the way they speak. Ghanaian people speak like they're singing. Okay, so when I went to Johannesburg, and it was just it. I went to the Mandela Square. Oh my God, Charlie, it was amazing.
I think we are at a stage now, our generation, we have technology. So the world is a lot smaller. We have no excuses. Yeah. But to try to understand each other a lot more, it's down to us.
Yeah, I was talking in terms of language.
Yes. I understand. Yeah. Even in terms of language, look, I couldn't speak a word of English. All I had to do was speak English when I first came to the UK. I couldn't speak English. I spoke Lingala and French. I'm a francophone. But for me, it's like all I had to do was just learn English. right? And then I've connected with everybody, right? And if English wasn't enough, it's just my attitude, my approach. Because you go to certain countries and people don't understand what they're saying, but they get you.
To get you.
Some people are like, oh, we love Congolese music. They don't even want you to talk. They just want you to move your waist, and you are in.
I was going to touch on the waist part.
He was going to touch on the waist part. It's 2020, the year of touching. The year. We go past the year of return has gone. Now is the year of touching.
Before I leave here, you need to show me that way.
You know, this is Africa, so you people are taking advantage. Because you know, in Europe, you can't just come and approach you. I can report you. I can report you for abuse at the workplace.
Yeah, so, well, see, Eddie just lost me. Let's talk about Year of Return.
Yeah.
What did you make of it? Do you think it was a success?
It's always been a success. They've given a title this year because it's 400 years since slavery, right? So it's a calendar, but it's always been a success. People have been coming back for years. Yeah, people have settled back here from America, from Jamaica, from the UK. I mean, I don't consider those whose parents left in the 80s and 70s as part of the year of return. Yeah, we're talking about people who actually left there in very sad circumstances, and they've been divided from their families for over 400 years, right? And that resulted in them having a lack of identity or identifying themselves with the motherland. And they have now gone through a process of trying to connect to where was my people, what land was it? How can I at least find somewhere? How can I see Africa in a different way? Will I be accepted if I come back? That's what that structure was for. But generally, I think it was fantastic. I think it's a great start. I think every country should look at Ghana and at least, talk to somebody, get advice from the tourism board and the board of people who actually came out with this idea. A lot of people have been saying, it's been mostly party. It hasn't been really. Look, when you're here, you want to find Club Twist. You ask where's Club Twist, they'll take you to Club Twist. But if you want to understand the history of Kwame Nkrumah and Ghana and how Ghana is connected to the rest of Africa, you ask those questions, you also get those answers. Yeah. So we're not children, People will put things in our faces and you make a choice. If people have to party, we can't just all turn up here and be doing a 1,000,000-mile march towards Cape Coast. That's not how it works. There has to be a balance. Some people, their way of discovering and feeling welcome back is partying because they love partying. So it's like, okay, I party in America. Can I party the same way in Africa? That's a great start because that's comfort. Yeah. So I think it was great. Events like Afro Nation, Afrochella, Dirty Rave were fantastic. Guys got really creative in acquiring land and turning things into something amazing like Polo Beach Club, the light show. There's been so many art shows that have been going on. So much has happened, Shout out to the guys at Essence as well, who put together, a great event to make those from America who came over feel comfortable. And of course, land on 2 feet, which is important. So I think it's been a success. I think there's going to be more coming. Other countries will do the same thing.
Are you planning on moving to Ghana? Because you're always in Ghana.
Why not? If there's opportunities for me to be here permanently, I will not complain. Congo is also, a place that, that's my home, So for me, it's like being able to go back home as often as I can is a beautiful thing. Being able to come to Ghana, Nigeria is a beautiful thing. It's wherever the calling is. One thing I do know is I need to be in a continent a lot more. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, a lot of diasporans want to move back home.
Yeah.
What tips would you give them? 5 tips.
I can't give them any tips because I haven't moved back home. But one thing I can give them in terms of motivation is follow your dreams, follow your hearts. If you're happy to go and do a 6-month trek across the Far East, Africa is 6 hours down the road, especially for those who are in the UK or in Europe. So there's no excuse. Don't overthink it. I was speaking to a friend earlier who said, I've been offered a job here, but I don't like wearing traditional clothes all the time. Where will I get clothes? I said, you're really digging for deep excuses to block your own life. Like, come on, those are not the reasons why you shouldn't move back home. A lot of people have been complaining about customer service. I said, have you seen customer service in London? Let's not lie to each other, man. Whenever you feel there's a concern for something that you have, that means God is telling you to fix it. So instead of you saying, I'm not coming because of that, you should say, I'm coming because of that. Yeah. So my advice is follow your heart. And one thing someone said to me is, if you have that feeling of moving back home, one thing that's guaranteed is it will never leave you. It will bug you until you do.
That's a very good one. Yeah. So, Eddie, what can we expect from you? What can we expect? Let's say in 10 years' time. Where do we see Eddie? Yeah.
Oh, many children. I'm negotiating.
Hey, well, you're going to have multiple wives then.
Many children can come from one wife. motive for wife, that's a lot of tax.
Generation, yeah? This
That's a,
generation.
that's a year of many returns.
Okay, we'll be back to many returns then.
No, but no.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no. I'm a family person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want a family. Probably be on a continent. It would be nice to be on a continent. Most certainly producing new acts and new talent across the continent. But I think more importantly, connecting with my brothers and sisters in building. In building across the continent, in constantly inviting people to come over. Because we have to have our own establishments, we have to have our own grounds, we have to have our own concepts and institutions. So we don't have to look abroad or look for acceptance elsewhere. We have to have our own Hollywood. And those are the things that I think I will be doing. I'll still love to be in front of the camera. I'll still love to be on stage, but you can't tap dance all your life. Do you understand? So for me, I think in 10 years' time, I would like to know that I'm on ground encouraging people to be coming and connecting. Because one thing I know God gave me is a gift of connecting the dots. So I have to fully make use of that before He takes it back.
Yeah. And lastly,
Yeah.
you're an influential person. So there are a lot of young people looking up to you. So what would you say to maybe let's say 10-year-old Eddie? If you look back, what would you say to 10-year-old Eddie?
Nothing else matters but your identity. Everything else will fall in place. Like, if people say you're different, celebrate it. If people say to you, go back to Africa, look at them and say, that's a blessing. Because it says, as long as Africa is still messed up, you will always be looked upon as an outcast. So your job is to make sure Africa is upheld. Whenever people say go back to, why don't you go back to Africa then? They are letting you know that as long as your Africa is nonsense, you will be nonsense. So your identity comes first. Everything else will fall into place. Don't let no one lie to you. Be proud and be bold of your language. Be bold of your dancing. Be bold of the food that you eat. Be bold of your name. It has a meaning and it's the roadmap to your life. Don't let anyone tell you that just because you are different, it means you're weird. Because you're different, it means you're special. Because there's no one else like you.
You couldn't have said it any better. I missed out on one
Go
question.
for it.
Obviously, when people look at how successful you've become, some people don't see the challenges that you face. So what are some of the challenges that you face and you overcame?
Mind block. Life happens, man, as you're pursuing your dreams, your desires. And as a creative, there's moments where nothing's going into your head. And life situation can really affect you as well, that you feel like you lose confidence. You feel like you become irrelevant because new acts are coming in every day, new talents are coming in every day. But you have to understand that your journey doesn't stop at one point. You knock that out, you move on to the next stage, and someone else will come and do their part and keep moving. So whenever you see someone in your position, don't think, oh man, that means I'm irrelevant. No, it means that's their time. You have to now go and do the next course. So never look at other people and assume that's a reflection of where you are in your life. Always look at you. And whenever you do feel down, just look at how far you've come. That's extremely important. We're constantly moving, and sometimes when everyone is moving faster, we assume we're not moving. It is a lie. That's why they put speeding tickets, because you're in a car, you're going to South London, and you're taking your time, and then someone goes woof, goes past, and you think, what kind of car am I in? And now you want to chase them. That's your ego. Take your time. Stay within your speed limit. If you get a ticket, that's your problem.
Thank you very much, Eddie. That was very insightful.
My pleasure. Anytime. You know I have time for you, Sika. Your name means money.
So do the waste for me
Your
then.
name means money.
Yeah, it does.
So you give me money, I'll do the waste.
Give me your bank details. It's a big money. You don't carry big money with you all the time.
Don't do it. This is Africa. Even the Uber driver doesn't want bank transfer. If you put your bank detail, the Uber driver will cancel on you back to back. They want cash. So let's do this. Give me the one you can carry. No.
You don't carry big money now, though. Who carries big money?
I want the money you can carry. Keep the big money.
That's the money I carry.
In this life that we live, nobody has ever given me big money. So I'm okay. I won't die. Give me the small money you can carry.
I don't carry small money.
Then
So,
I'll keep my waste. This is a waste of time.
oh, Eddie, I was coming to dance with you. I wanted you to teach
Let me
me.
tell you something about life. At this stage of my life, I've been teaching people to dance for so long. If you haven't learnt now, it's too late for you. Just focus on
But
riding.
I see it online,
That's
and I
very
want
good.
to do it in
I feel
person.
people should focus on riding invisible horses. Just do your zanku. Do your zanku. Zanku's good. Zanku's for people who can't dance.
Already.
Just yes, because the
Okay.
waist is a dangerous thing. You know, this waist is. A lot of people they say, "Oh, pregnancy by Bluetooth." So I'm very careful how I use my waist now because I realize it's a commodity. My waist is the commodity. You know how the plutonium, uranium, coltan, vibranium. That one, the fake version. You know, a lot of people. You know, a lot of people after Black Panther they want to look for vibranium.
Well, I'll bring the money so that you show me.
That's better. Bring in dollars, huh?
Yeah,
Spray some.
dollars.
So,
Yeah, don't you want pounds?
no. We know where this is going. We know where this is going.
Thank you, Eddie.
You're very welcome.